Network address translation is created for IP address conversion. For IP address conversation. Right, I will tell you that what exactly it is. Just write the points first. Second point is idea behind creation of network address translation is to use multiple devices multiple devices to access the internet to access the internet. Idea is to use multiple devices to access the internet with simple public IP address. With simple public IP address. Point number 3 is network address translation a procedure is a procedure in which one or more private IP in which one or more private IP address is is converted into public IP address and vice versa, right? It means that public or private IP address can be converted into public to private and private to public. This is how we can done. This is the idea behind network address translation. And if I construct architecture, basically, if I construct a simple architecture, right? Architecture of network address translation. So let's say this is a router of this network. This is a network, and this is a network, and this is a router of this network. This is a router of this network, and let's say that this is network 1. This is network 1. It may be our home address. It is maybe of our home network or our office network, right? Which is connected. Let's say the IP address associated with this router is, let's say, 13.1.1.1, and it is connected to some devices like this. Let's say our laptop is connected to it, and let's say our PC is connected to it, and let's say our smartphones are connected to it. Okay, so it might have the IP address, let's say 192.168.1.1. Our PC might have the IP address, let's say 192.168.1.2, and our smartphone might have IP address, let's say 192.168.1.3, right? Now let's say one more network is there. Let's say one more network is there, network 2, and it is global network. Let's say it is a global network, or outside our network, outside network, it is anything, any. So in that network one more router is there. In that network one more router is there, and let's say this router is having IP address 14.1.1.1. This IP address is 14.1.1.1 is IP address of this particular router, and it is associated with, let's say, also with some laptop, and let's say some PCs, and let's say some smartphones, some smart gadgets. So they may have what I am saying. It is very very important part that they may use the same IP address, let's say 192.168.1.1, 168.1.1 and 192.168.1.2 and let's say 192.168.1.3, right? Now, basically, let's say these routers are public networks. These routers are using public networks because obviously if we are using routers, that is they are connected to internet. So if they are connected to internet, it means that they are public networks. So the thing is that if we are only working in that particular network, if we are only working in where if we are only working in network A, we can use these IP addresses, and this IP addresses having stored, all these IP addresses are stored in this router. Now, if we are using this network, we can again use the same IP addresses like this. Only in this network we can use it. But the thing is that when we are connected to internet, the thing is that when we are going to connect with internet, then issue will be there, na? What issue will be there? That if we are going to connect with the internet, then these IP addresses will not be unique. So what will happen that when we are going to connect any packet, right? Let's say this laptop want to connect with this laptop. So this IP address will go to this router, and again what will happen? The renumbering will be there. Renumbering means this router will assign public IP address to this laptop. Right now these IP addresses are private IP addresses. Right now these IP addresses are private IP addresses. Yes, 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 yes. So right now, these IP addresses are private IP. It means that only in this particular network they are having their sense. But if they want to connect with internet or some other network, then this laptop will ask this router to get connect with the internet. But before connecting to internet, router will reassign the IP address to it. So router will assign public IP address 13.1.1.2 might be anything like that. Getting it? Now, again, when these packets want to connect to this, you can see that this router will what it will do. This particular request will again converting, it is again going to convert the public IP address into private IP address because this router is connected to internet. So this particular IP address which is public, it is again going to this router, and this router will convert into the public to private, and then particular request will be made. So thing is that if they want to communicate within the network, they may use this private IP addresses. For that, no need of renumbering. But if they want to connect with some outer networks, if they want to connect with some other networks, so there is a need of router, and router will do public to private and private to public. That is conversion of private to public, public to private. Why we are doing this? Just to save some IP addresses. Just to save IP addresses, we are doing this process. This is the idea of using a public IP address to do the searching kind of things. Whatever we are doing, just to save the cost, we are using this idea of network address translation. So meaning of network address translation here itself, that to limit total number of public IP addresses, because it is limited, right? You know that only 2 to the power 32. Right now in 1990s, total number of gadgets are like this, but in 2000 total number of gadgets are like 2 to the power 100, which is much more than this. So how we can assign this much? How we can afford this much IP addresses? Not possible. And no invention of IPv6. So this is how they are managing the things using the concept of network address translation. So they are using the IP addresses as a private IP addresses in particular network, but if they want to get connected, then public IP addresses will be assigned. Rather than that, they are only going to work with private IP addresses. So I hope you got an idea that to limit the total number of public IP addresses for an organization, right, just to enhance their economic purposes and security, and to eliminate the address renumbering, they are using this, right? So this is the thing. This is the concept of network address translation. Basically, we are translating the address public to private and private to public, right? I hope you got it. Now just write the advantages and yes, any doubt? Okay, so just write advantages of network address translation. So first advantage is that to to limit the to limit the total number of public IP addresses to limit the total number of public IP addresses for an organization for an organization we can use NAT. The second advantage that would be to enhance economic purposes to enhance economic purposes as well as security. And third advantage would be to eliminate address renumbering to eliminate address renumbering. Right, these are some advantages of NAT, and there are some disadvantages too. Disadvantages is that while going to the process of public to private and private to public, it will delay the path, right? So we can write point number one that translation means public to private and private to public. So IP address translation lead to path delay. Definitely delay will be there, path delay will be there. And the second one is that complicated tunneling, complicated tunneling protocols such as IP security will be used just to make the secure. So basically it is used inside router. IP security just a kind of tunneling protocol which is used for security purposes. So this is going to delay the thing, right? So these are some disadvantages, right? Now basically if we are going to write the importance, if we are going to write importance of NAT, then network address translation have their importance, very much importance. We can write it as network address translation is very important, is very important aspect. It is a very important aspect of firewall security, right? For firewall security, it is having very important aspect as a firewall security. It conserves the number of IP addresses. It conserves the number of IP addresses, right? And it also control resources on both sides. It also it also controls it also controls resources. It also controls resources on both sides, right? So there is importance like this. So this is about NAT, that is network address translation.